Go ahead.
This is News Channel CMC. Hi, today you will learn about the human effects in the coral reef, brought to you by me, Caroline Cherry. The first one I studied was pollution. Right now we are throwing trash. Now the turtle has eaten it and is now dead.
Back to life.
Pollution in the coral reef is one of the threats I studied. The reefs are being polluted, which can make the water dirty or overheated, and that makes the coral animals sick. Then they turn white and die. The chemicals that the farmers put on their crops is part of the problem. The runoff from the chemicals gets into the coral reef and pollutes them. It affects the food chains in the coral reefs. If one species dies, the fish that eat it will die, and maybe if that fish ate algae might take over. Humans could help by keeping trash out of the ocean. The farmers could build something to keep the runoff out of the coral reef, or find another way to make their crops grow faster. The next human effect I studied was overfishing. Ha ha ha! The last two fish of their species. Oh no! There are no more fish left in the ocean! Overfishing is one of the threats I studied. People are fishing too aggressively, which is when people are fishing all the time. The reason they are doing that is because they want to sell the fish for money. It affects the food chains in the coral reef. If one species dies, and the fish that eats it will die, and if that fish ate algae could take over. That is how overfishing is such a big problem. Some ways we can help are setting limits on how many fish to catch, or when we catch some fish, we can put them back. Now we will have animals, brought to you by Caroline Frist.
Now we're going to move on to the animals of the coral reef. I've studied the clownfish and coral. I'll start with coral. The coral eat each other. That is one reason they are endangered. They also eat plankton and algae. How does it adapt to the reef? Well, soft corals can live in cold, hot, deep, and dark water. Hard coral can't. Predators. The parrotfish, crowns of thorns sea star, butterfly fish, tame, some types of marine snails, and marine slugs. Protection. Hard corals have tentacles so they sting their predators. The tentacles have small sting-like cells called pneumatocysts, which can shoot poison into small animals drifting by. Only few corals have enough poison to affect humans. Habitat. If you wrote down adapt, it's the same thing, but I'll tell you again. Soft corals can live in cold, hot, deep, and dark water. Hard coral can't. Appearance. Some soft corals are hard. A coral's skeleton is on the outside of its body, cup-shaped. Soft corals look like colorful plants or graceful trees. Now clownfish. To add some fun, we have a skit, but we have to talk a little first. Appearance. Clownfish come in yellow, orange, reddish, or blackish. Many of them have white stripes. Food. They eat the leftovers on their anemone. Leftovers may be ceopods, isopods, and zooplankton. They also eat algae. Adapting. A particular species has more rounded cuttle fins than any other clownfish, making it harder to swim but easier to dart predators. Now we have a skit for the predators and protection.
I am a predator of the clownfish. I'm a shark. I'm going to get you.
Nah, not a boo-boo. You can't eat me. Nah, not a boo-boo. You couldn't eat me. The anemone stung the predator, the shark. The reason why anemone can't sting the clownfish is because the clownfish is covered in mucus. Clownfish live in anemones in the coral reef. The colorful species live in warm water, primarily in the Indian and Pacific Oceans or the Red Sea. Now we have non-living things, brought to you by Mariana.
The light in the coral reef is pretty limited. The further down you go, the less light there is. The light makes the water warm and clear, actually gets its color from the weather. It helps the coral grow, and as I said before, light makes the water warm. Soil. The soil is sand with bits of shell and rock. It's gritty and goldish yellowish. The sand helps the coral root and stay stable. And some fish hide from predators in it. The water sometimes moves the sand. Water. The water is everywhere in the coral reef since it's underwater. It's warm in the afternoon and cool in the morning and night. The water is bluish green. Water helps the fish breathe with the oxygen in it. The water sometimes moves the sand. Weather. The weather is usually warm and sunny. Sometimes hurricanes come through the reef. Hurricanes help the coral with bleaching. Hurricanes also cool down the water. That's it. Okay,
now we have something special for the plants. The song.
No. Okay.
Say it, go. Welcome under the sea to the coral reef, where you will see mermaids, wineglass, and algae. Mermaids, wineglass stalks are whitish to pale green. Consumers that eat it. Fish, worms, gastropods, protection from consumers. They reproduce so much. They get their nutrients from the sun and water. They live on the rocks in the coral reef, adapting to the environment, same as protection. Mermaids, wineglass, and algae. Mermaids, wineglass, and algae. What colors does algae come in? Red, brown, green, yellow, blue, and pink. Consumers that eat it, that would be fish. Protection from consumers, they reproduce so much. Just like mermaids, wineglass, da-da-da-da-da. They get their nutrients from the sun and water. They live anywhere in the coral reef, adapting to the environment, same as protection. That's the end of our song and presentation.